And then you had, it was supposed to be, Arkansas was supposed to play Missouri this week, but that got flipped around. A lot of things got changed because I made this same video. I make these videos every Sunday and then I post them out on Monday now. So originally I'd made a video talking about Arkansas, Missouri, and then that game got canceled and it got changed into Missouri and Vanderbilt. So I don't know why that all happened, but we're back with this is another makeshift week. A lot of games have changed here. A lot of games have just been thrown together at the last minute, and I'm pretty much a fan of what the SEC has done here because I do like that the games that we're having this week. So let's get into them, shall we not? Sticking with our topic of Arkansas and Missouri. I just talked about them. I was just talking about them. They play this weekend. Now, all the times are TBD right now. At this point in time where I'm filming this video, except for the Alabama LSU game. That game is at 8 o'clock. All the rest of them are TBD, and even the network is TBD, so I don't know when these games are, when they're going to be played, but we are going to have Arkansas versus Missouri this week. Missouri coming off the big win against Vanderbilt. Obviously, Vanderbilt isn't a really good team. Vanderbilt couldn't even get it in field goal range for Sarah Fuller to get in and kick a field goal. They had to put her in to kick the squib kick to open the half, I'm pretty sure, which was great to see her get in the game. Obviously, there's so much hype around that she was going to suit up for the Commodores. It was good that she actually got to get into the game. It was great to see that. Missouri's a good football team, especially defensively. I think it really showed in that game, especially against a weaker offensive team in Vanderbilt. Missouri has a really good defense. I've watched them. They just played the Gamecocks a couple weeks ago, and their defense is really, really good. Nick Bolton's one of the best players in all of the SEC. He's been playing lights out so far this year. I don't really have that much exposure to Missouri because I usually watch the big time games, the prime time games. I usually watch all the CBS games, the ESPN night games. If South Carolina's not playing, I watch some of the noon games. And those games on ESPN and CBS, Missouri's usually not in those ones. So I think they're a team that have really slipped under the radar this season because they're 4-3 in the SEC this year. Like, they're not a bad team at all. They're actually a pretty good football team. They just don't get the limelight that so many other teams, like, obviously you're going to have Alabama up there. You're going to have the teams like Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M. You're going to have the teams with the names Auburn, LSU, always get those primetime games just because of their name. Missouri is a team that definitely deserves some more spotlight because they are actually a really good football team this year. Arkansas, on the other hand, definitely the most surprising team in the SEC. I actually really like this matchup. This is going to be a very interesting game. Arkansas goes out this year. I picked them to be dead last in the SEC West, no question about it. Same with so many people. So many people picked Arkansas to come dead last in the SEC this year. Arkansas is a really good football team this year. Sam Pittman has gone in and changed this program around. Like, they are actually playing some pretty good football out there. Felipe Franks has thrown 17 touchdowns for 4 interceptions. He's having a pretty decent year after transferring from Florida. Obviously, Arkansas, it has lost some games that they should lose to. Like, they lost the game to Florida. They lost the game to, who else have they played? The Auburn game is probably their most controversial one because we all know the Bo Nix backwards spike. That's technically a fumble. That should have been Arkansas's ball. And then literally, like, right after that, Auburn goes out and kicks a game-winning field goal. So technically, Arkansas should be 4-4 and Missouri's 4-3. So this is a very close game. This is the battle line rivalry. Like, both of these teams play, like, it's a border, like, the states border each other. So it's going to be interesting. There's a rivalry there. A recruiting battle because I bet you these guys go into each other's states and try to recruit like crazy. A bunch of these players might have played in high school together. So lots of very interesting things in this football game to be talked about. Baszler as the quarterback for Missouri, he's had a decent year, although like there's so many quarterbacks. I feel like as a quarterback in the SEC, your stats, like your touchdown to interception ratio is actually crazy high or is super low. Like, Baszler has thrown 5 touchdowns for 2 interceptions, and Felipe Franks has thrown 17 for 4. There's some teams that are just throwing touchdowns left, right, and center, like Ole Miss, Alabama, Florida. And you got teams like South Carolina, Missouri, Vanderbilt, who just don't throw touchdowns that often. Like, it is what it is. Let's take a look at some of the team breakdowns of this one. Arkansas scores an average of 25.8 points, while Missouri scores 24.4. Arkansas allows 30.9 points, while Missouri only allows 25. So you could see there that the stats are very, very close in how this game is played. Rushing's going to be big in this game. We'll see who is able to get whoever seems to have the most rushing yards in a lot of SEC games this year usually comes out as the winner. This game is in Missouri. I say this all the time. Yes, there's no fans in the stadium, but constantly it has favored that the home team is going to win if it's a toss-up game like this. That's just what's been going on in college football this year, especially in the SEC for these toss-up games. It's not just the fans that when you get a home game you feel better about. You get to wake up in the same bed as you normally do. You're familiar with everything. It's same training facility, same all that. You don't have to travel. There's not that late night travel the night before to get to the city that you're playing in. So this game is in Como. Although I really like Arkansas this year. Arkansas has become one of my favorite teams in the SEC. I was a big fan of them. I'd say that they were probably my fourth favorite team in the SEC before this season. I think they might have jumped up to like third or something. I really like this Arkansas football team. I feel like their defense is going to step up in this game. Missouri's offense isn't anything special. We all know that. Missouri doesn't put up the scoreboard. They don't run up the scoreboard as much as other teams do. So as long as Arkansas does the things, Felipe Franks gets the ball downfield, get the ball in the hands of Burks, because he is the leading receiver for Arkansas, and I'm pretty sure he's like fifth in the SEC right now in receiving. He's had a really good year, 598 yards, 6 touchdowns, 39 receptions. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And this Arkansas team has been all over on defense. I'm pretty sure there's a ton of them that are leading on tackles right now. Like, look at this. You got Morgan, Catalan, and Poole all leading in tackles. That is 1, 2, and 4 in leading tackles in the SEC. This is a team that lays a wood on you. They're going to hit you, and they're going to hit you hard. So I really like where this Arkansas team is at this year. Even though I've been talking nonstop about how good Missouri's defense is and everything, I just don't feel like Missouri has the offense right now to be able. You saw it against South Carolina. A very weak South Carolina defense went up against Missouri's offense in the second half of that South Carolina game. Missouri got shut out by our defense. Like, they couldn't get anything going on the ground. Roundtree had a really tough game. Couldn't get anything going there. Receiving wise, they have Batty, they have Knox, they have Chisholm, they have all these guys, but you need someone to go out there and just have 100 plus 150 yard game, something like that, to be able to be competitive. You're going to need someone to step up big in this game if you're Missouri on offense, in my opinion, and I just don't see that. So in this game, I am going to take the Razorbacks. I just feel really good about where they're at as a program right now, where they're headed, and them in this game I feel really good about, so I am taking Arkansas in this one.